Greetings, this is Flares. Since some people have asked, I'm just making a video going over the tier list and why they're in that tier and how to play each Awaker. This is going to be a particularly long video. I have played all the Awakers because I have like a lot of whale units you can borrow, but this is my explanation on my tier list and everything as someone who has cleared all the content in the game, unlike some other people whose opinion, in my opinion, are invalid if they haven't done the hard content. Because every unit can do all the content in the game, eventually, with enough revives. Only a few units can actually do hard mode and the actual endgame content. So, if you haven't stepped into endgame content, you are going to get walled if you happen, pull a shit team together. Some teams are just straight up unviable endgame because of how Arc 2 mechanic works. So, this is from a perspective from a player who actually knows what he's talking about. But let's get into it. I'm going to start with what we're going to base our tier list on. Remember, S is meta defining. These units break the game. These units release in an unfair position and they change the meta. A means that they're extremely useful. They're very good, but they don't break the game in any significant way. B is they're useful, but in some situations, you don't want to use them on some stages. C means they're average. They're like the baseline. You can put them on your team. Most of the times, you will use them from time to time. D is below average, which means in extremely rare niche scenarios are they useful. F means that they're trash, and you should basically almost never use them. So, let's start with, the S tiers and why they're broken. So, Tawil. Tawil is a newer unit. She was released in December and basically saved the game. But she is the most flexible unit in the game. Before, the title was held by 24. The reason why she's so good is because of her wings, this card, and this card. So she is the only unit that can copy any card from any champion within that realm, even if you're not using them with her Exalt. And at E2 and E1, she makes the cards cheaper every turn, and her first ability played after she exalts is double cast. So let's say in Blue Realm, for example, you exalt. You pull, let's say, Sanga's 4-cost card. Every turn that 4-cost is going to be reduced by 1. And if that is the first card Tawil plays, she double cast that 4-cost, for example. Or double cast Murphy. She provides a solution to every problem you'll encounter in the game if played blue. She can be played other realm. Whatever realm she's played in is the cards she's going to copy with her Exalt. So a realm with a lot of busted units, she'll perform better in than a bad realm, for example. Like if she's played in Ultra, she's not going to excel as much as she would in Pure Chaos or Aqua. And she provides everything. This copies the top card in your deck, meaning that you will know what the next card you draw will be, and reduces cost by 1. So if you have an inspiration, you can use it to pull whatever card this says, and hope that the next card she copies is better. This generates potentially 6 cards, 2-wing, 4-wing, and 6-wing. Her 4-wing is one of the very few sources of strength reduction in the game, and it's huge strength reduction. It's worth more than several posses, and she also generates a shit ton of S-key with this Rouse. So she has every possible use or utility in the game. There's no unit that has as much utility as Tawil. Her stat is also baseline. So it's 150 at level 80, average all about. So if she copies a card from a support unit like G-Doll, see G-Doll, her stats are basically extremely low because that's because she's a support unit. But her cards scale extremely well. Tawil copying G-Doll's cards will increase the effectiveness of them. So she will heal more than Gall using Gall's card. She will do more damage than utility units using their cards. So she's just an all-around great unit. The other S tier on our list is Hellet, or Genesis Hellet, or Hellet Katana, whatever you want to call her. The reason she's strong is she does a ton of damage turn 1, and with E3, which is this, she'll generate any card of her choosing in her starting hand. Like, she'll have a 0 cost that you can retain every turn, and the first turn you can vent, for example, and clear a wave like that. She just does a ton of damage all the time, and she heals more than 90% of the healers in the game with her Hellet card. This used to be called Bloody Chain, but the translations are pretty iffy. She's probably one of the easier units to use in the game as well. She belongs in S tier. Like, once you borrow a whale Hellet, you'll see how strong she is. I might show that later, but I'm gonna speed through this. 24, which is here, was the most flexible. I would place her in A+ or S- right now. Right now I have her in S because everyone's using her since her buff. But she has 4 different forms depending on which realm you play her as. So if you play her as, let's say, Chaos, she gets different effects, like you can read them here on her exalts. Chaos, she'll have more crit rate and crit damage. Aqua, she'll scale off of poison. Caro, she'll generate more embryo fusion. Ultra, she doesn't do anything. And her cards are extremely good, and she's just very flexible. She's very easy to play. And her best teammate right now that the Chinese found, is all credits to them. We NA people did not figure this out until they started using it, is you combine her with Goliath. The reason why you combine her with Goliath is because of his second Exalt choice. So his second Exalt choice is Usurp. Usurp, he gains 60% tentacle damage for your entire team and temporary power, which means you'll get like 200 plus strength, even more if you run a lot of strong damage wheels. And combine that with Blue 24. Blue 24 will scale off of tentacle damage and poison. So Goliath will make her scale exponentially strong. And as some Chinese teams demonstrated, it can deal like 1,000,000 damage in 1 turn in some cases. So she's just an overall all-around good unit, and you can play her in your yellow team, in your blue team, in your purple team on Act 1, and then you just forget purple team exists, and then your blue team. So she's extremely good. So these are the 3 S tier carry awakers. Carry means that they're very good by themselves and they carry your team in damage. Now let's go to the support awakers. Support awakers on this tier list means that they enable another unit to do better. By themselves, they can't carry. Like if you have a team with Hamlin, Thias, Daffodil, and Hora, somehow, even though you have to hack the game for that, it won't do much as a team combine them with a carry unit. So Daffodil, for example, on a team without a very strong awaker, is less powerful because she provides buffs to the team but doesn't actually have damage cards that deal significant damage herself until late game. So with that in mind, let's go with Hamlin. Hamlin is on every tier list S. Like, this is an undisputed point, whereas in Gall's tier list and Corn's tier list and the Chinese tier list, it's kind of iffy on what they considered power level of Tawil and Hellet, because there have been some debates on it, but this is my tier list, so I'm going to say what I think. But Hamlin is S tier for out because he's good without playing his cards, because his rouse is one of the best rouses in the game. So Hamlin, what his rouse does once you rouse them up is generate a special card every turn, which you can reduce the cost of any card in your hand by 2 for free, or you can increase its cost by 2, but allowing it to be double casted. His Exalt allows you to choose any card in your hand, make it cost 2 less, and cast twice. So you can use him. You can sell all of his cards, basically, and only use his Exalt and his Rallies every turn. You can basically ignore all of his other cards. But in addition, his Memory Rondo is also one of the best cards in the game. Because you can play it without having the mana cost or Arithmetica cost. I'm going to use the word mana to refer to Arithmetica around this video because it's easier to pronounce and English is not my first language. So please forgive me if I trip up now and then. But basically, if you don't have the mana to play his Memory Rondo, you can play it. But the 2 inspiration goes into your deck. But you still gain the 6 power. So if you do have the Arithmetica, you get S key and you get the 2 inspirations in your hand. So you can draw and gain 1 Arithmetica immediately. So it's a good draw card. If you don't, you just play anyway. And it'll be in your deck for a free draw, free Arith later in the game. So this card is extremely good. His Soul Overture is hit or miss. Some people use Hamlin as a DPS. It's doable with this. What it does is, if it's a 0 cost, which you can get it to 0 cost, every turn it's reduced cost by 1. It pierces through shields, it pierces through invulnerability. He's one of the few piercing units in the game, and piercing is very strong, so this is somewhat useful. But some people just sell it immediately. I always get rid of his strike and defense, because even though it sounds good, temporary power, it's temporary power. Temporary power is whatever. You want to thin your deck, as most of you who are experienced with card games know. So these two are very good deck thinners, because you don't really play them often. Because temporary power is kind of worthless, especially late game where you need thousands upon thousands of power. Next up is Gall. Gall was one of the newer supports. She is extremely good, but unlike Hamlin, which can fit into every team, she is more of a niche case because you want her Overexalt, which means you want her +4, which means you want 8 copies of her. The reason it's a very money or pool limited character because Gall, E0, E1, E2, E3, she's usable. She's very usable. You can clear normal mode with her, but you can clear normal mode with any unit in the game, so why bother? But in hard mode, which is the end game of the game, Gall without Overexalt is only used in very niche cases, because you want her permanent buffs. Like, her Exalt regularly is you increase strong damage for 1 turn by 50%. That's whatever. Every Awaker gets 15 alien miss. That's whatever. What the fuck do I care about that for in hard mode? I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die right now in this turn. What are you gonna do for me, Gall? What, you're gonna heal 60 life for me? No. I'm fucking dead. Enemies do 2,000 damage a turn sometimes, dude. However, if you Overexalt her, get her +4, she has twice the alien miss gauge, which means she heals more than twice as much, because this is based on every 50 alien miss points. And if you have her Overexalt, you only Overexalt. Now you get a permanent buff. Let's see here. The alien miss generated by this Exalt is doubled. And this, right here, all Awaker's poison, counter, and base damage increased by 10%. This is permanent. This is permanent the entire fight. And you can stack Overexalt and Overexalt. I delay Final Form to stack this to 5 or 8 stacks. 80% higher damage. And the base damage and counter damage stack on top of each other. The base damage and the poison stack on top of each other. So let's say you're using a card, alright? Using a card like Caulus. Caulus Shattered Halberd. Deal 31 damage and gain an equal amount of counter. Gall's Overexalt in this situation will increase the base damage and increase the amount of counter it generates. So cards like this double dip into that ability. Similarly with Pharaohs and Mariam, which has a similar thing but with poison. So her Overexalt is very good on counter comps, on poison comps, on bleed comps, on just any comp. That's how powerful she is in Overexalt form. Not to mention, once you get her Overexalt, she's gonna be a staple in all of Arc 2, I'm telling you. Next up is Thias, which is Gall or Hamlin, but combined with Caro. Oh, I should really go over Gall's last ability, which is the End. The End, it's very useful, but if you're playing in hard mode, you're actually not going to use it till the very last moments of the fight. Basically, at the start of the final boss battle of any stage, every turn you get 1 stack. Every time you exalt, you get 1 stack. Once you have 10 stacks, you get a card called The End. This card does 30% of the boss's max HP, regardless of how much health it has. So in later stages, when the boss has like 1.5 million, 4 million HP, it does a lot. Like, without spoiling too much, in Chapter 9 final boss, his final form is just 1 big HP bar, and she's gonna skip 10 turns with that card. So you save it until the very end, but the reason why you don't use it endgame is because it changes these 2 cards, and it makes her Overexalt more expensive. So you use that once you're comfortable with the amount of permanent buff stacks you have. It changes this to deal poison, and it changes this to reduce your max health and inflict both effects. So that's why you want to save it, but you'll use it. Once you play enough Gall, you'll understand it. Next up is Thias. Thias is S tier because she's the Gall or Hamlin of Caro. So Thias is basically a staple in every Caro comp because she's just that good. She creates so many babies. She gives power and alienness to your Awaker. She can bone, weak, or generate more babies. And with E3, she can even give strength. She can dupe cards in your hand, just like Hamlin, but 2 of them, and reduce their cost by 2. She's double Hamlin, but for Caro. With her Exalt, she's just an all-around great supportive character. She's basically tied at the hip with either Hellet, right here, or Caulus. Because Caulus, Caro, mixed realm, you also use Thias because she double costs his counter cards. So that's very useful. Basically, she creates 2 copies of any card you pick and reduce their cost by 2. So you can already imagine how powerful it is for some characters like Caulus or people with 2 costs, because how card values in this game work. So let's say you Hellet all the way to 4 chain and you get a 4 cost chain. She dupes 2 of them for 2 costs. Use both of them, you go up to full health. She is basically mandatory in every Caro comp, in my opinion. Only Salvador is like kind of iffy, but he can still use her. Hora is the S tier support of Ultra, which is currently the worst realm right now because Arc 2 changes, but she is still an S tier unit because she's the only unit in the game that lets you keep cards and mana from last turn with Joy. You can basically use her E0. These are very good. Don't get me wrong. These abilities are pretty good. Get dupes for, but you can use her E0 just fine. Like, because the only reason you're kind of using her for is Joy. You can use her other effects. Aurora did it in Discord. He kidnaps Hora and puts it in his Caro comp. That's all you're gonna use Hora for. Is for some Ultra comps, but you're mostly gonna kidnap her to use another comp just for Joy. Joy, like all these card effects have different abilities. Like it's just a permanent passive that lasts the entire stage, not the entire battle, the entire stage. As long as you don't play another one of her cards. This just increases damage, increases shield and life recovery effects and power gen, increases power counter poison gen, etc. But this is the best. It increases alienness gen, but people use it for you keep your mana and command cards to the last turn, so you can stall and do stupid stuff with it. So, and you can delete all of her cards after you play it once. So that's why she's very good and very used, because she's the only one unit in the game with that mechanic. Now let's go to A tier. A tier are very good units that were formerly S tier before the real S tier units came out. Caulus is, depending on who you ask, the best standard awaker. It's between him and Winkle and Jenkins right now, to be honest, for his standard awakers, because he does everything. He's one of the units that has way too much utility and stat values. To showcase what I'm talking about when I'm talking about stat value is, look at this. Look at this. Look at his health. Look at his attack. Look at his defense. What kind of unit is he? Is he a health unit? Oh yeah, I guess he has a lot of... Is he an attack unit? He has a lot of attack. Is he a defense unit? He has a lot of defense. He has high stats in all three. No other unit, even busted units, have that. Look at Jelly. This is a very good attacker. She has high health. She has high attack. Look at her defense. Nothing to write home around. Tawil, average all around. Hamlin, look at this. Lower stats. Look at this. This is a normal attacker unit. Low health, low defense, high attack. Caulus, high. Karen, low. She's a healer. Alpha, she's a defense. Medium, high defense. Look at Not. Extremely low attack, high health, high defense. Defensive unit. What the fuck is Caulus? High defense, high attack, high health. So, and look at his cards. Other units with good stat lines, they have really good defense cards. But look at Caulus. He has a really good defense card, a really good attack card, a massive heal, another massive heal, another scaling attack card. Oh, what is this? He can remove weakness? He can apply vulnerable with his Exalt? So he can apply vulnerable, he can dispel weakness, he has a good defense card, he gives power, he gives counter, he interacts with tentacle damage, he gives more life, he does everything. His kit is busted, and he has high stats. Our units have busted kits, but they have low stats. So that's why he, in my opinion, is the best standard awaker. That's enough of Caulus. Caulus, in every tier list, I'll put him there. I recommend every new player, roll Caulus. Use the cock. But he needs no further explanation. Next unit, I guess, since we're talking about the really good standards for now, is Winkle. I'm going to skip right next to Winkle. Winkle, despite being old trash, is a very good unit. Get her E3 with selectors, because she generates a ton of alien miss for your team and some shields. Also, she's one of the few units that can remove barrier. Actually, the only unit, straight up, which for some. But this is why you use her Exalt. Unless you Exalt twice on 41, it's nothing to laugh at. This is why. You basically sell most of her card. This is also really nice. This card is okay, but the value is way too low. 47 shield, way too low for the cost and requirements. So you can sell this, basically sell all this, and basically use these two cards, so Rouse and this, and Exalt. So she's very good at, giving a battery for your team. Next up in the standard is Goliath. Goliath is, despite the word damage type, he's used as a utility endgame. The reason why is because of this. Enemies endgame, depending on the stage, in Arc 2 hard mode, they will build up 300, 1,000 power, and they will wipe your team. But with this, you build them power on purpose, and use this, and you steal all. He gets this at E2, I believe. Let's see. Yep, he gets this at E2, so you want him E2 for stealing enemy power. And he can cheese some D-tied alert 5s. There's one boss, the Headhunter boss, on alert 5. He can build up to 2,000 power and basically one-shot you. But you want him to do that like you play into playing the game wrong, because he gains power whenever you play certain cards, and you're not supposed to play them. You're supposed to plan it out, big brain it. Caulus works around that. You just play bad purposely, and you use this card, and then you kill the boss. This is why he's very good utility. It's because of this card. You sell this card, it is useless most of the time. Here's Rouse is good as a key alien gen, and he pairs well with 24 because, as I mentioned earlier, usurp. This, if you use solo Goliath, is good AoE. You just use this in the entire battle if you're not using 24. But he's fairly decent unit in A tier. Next up, okay, let's go back to normal. Since we're talking about the best standards, let's go back. Talking about the limited AA tiers. Riker. Riker, I'm gonna level him up next time his rerun comes around. He's a very good unit. I have a whale Riker, which I learned to light about. Actually, let's just go to the whale Riker I have friended. Let's see here. Madness, whatever. So this is the Riker I commonly use. Whale Riker. Whale Riker, or God Riker, is the highest damaging unit in the game, period. He is the highest damaging awaker, theoretically, in the game that has ever released, will ever release, if you're good at the game. Now, the reason why you may not see my face right now, I'm smirking, is because he is the Gamba character. He's the gotcha within your gotcha. So, on release, he was S tier on every Chinese tier list. Every tier list in the world, he was S tier. Everyone in the world said he was broken. He is the most powerful awaker ever released. Now, every tier list, you see he's dropped to B tier. He dropped to A tier. He's in my A tier even. He has never been nerfed. He got power corrupt. But he's still very strong. So, see this? Cause damage 1 for 6 times. 1 to 6 cards. If you roll high, if you crit, if you roll 6 every time, he's the most powerful awaker in the game. Are you gonna roll high? That's up to you. But he works off of crit rate and crit damage very well, which has had a nerf in Arc 2. But in Arc 1, if you're using Costco comp, and if you're a new player watching this video, this extremely long video, maybe I'll timestamp, I recommend pulling for him. He's going to carry with Costco because there are a lot of crit relics in Arc 1. But if you're not lucky, the reason he's still in A tier is because this is a free draw. Free draw, free draw. You want draw, and he's very good. And at E3, you can play his strike and defense for his sigil. And he scales off how much money you make with his winner takes all talent. See that? He gives you three relics throughout the stage at 75, 150, or 300 sigil. And this is permanent. For every 1% drop rate, blah blah, he gains more money. Yeah, he is the money unit. So he's very good. Also, he's a furry for all you furry fanatics there. Jenkins with the recent buff is A tier. Everyone will say that they don't know how people play Jenkins before the buff because now this is AoE. Side note, this used to be single target, and we thought it was good. Now it's AoE, and we're like, why the fuck was it ever single target? They also changed this to always be +4. You can use Jenkins to cheese certain gimmick stages with ground attack and assembling mags in chapters 8, 8, and 9. Jenkins is probably the best Ultra unit you can get standard right now. Recommend getting with dupes if you really have to play Ultra. Like, you have a brain disorder that makes you like shit realms. You still pull blue, you use a selector, you get Jenkins. And then you only use Jenkins with Hora and Winkle. You ignore every other unit in Ultra. Because Jenkins is really good. Even I love Jenkins. I love playing Jenkins. The reason why Jenkins is good is because he's not an alien. He has brown. Everyone else in Ultra, said by the sign, is an illegal alien. That's just how it works. Next is Nautilus. Nautilus is extremely A tier. He's one of the most powerful defense awakers you can get. It's because he generates a lot of shields. That's basically it. He or she, I always refer to him as he because I always think of him as a male for some reason. My bad. He does a lot of shield and he pairs best with Caulus. I said my guide, you pair him with Caulus and you just call it done day. If your team needs survivability, you slot in a Nautilus. That's why she's A tier. If your team needs to survive, just put this champion in, and you won't die most of the time. Because every turn, this gets cheaper. This makes your shield stronger, and then you use the shield covenants, and you use the shield wheels, and she will help your team survive. This card is worthless. It gives you a flat amount of counter. Unlike Caulus' card, you sell this card, always. This is like 0 counter. It might as well be like 0. And you keep everything else. You sell this card. And you use not. And that's basically it. If you want to live, use not. Ramona is A tier. She is going to be used in your comp. That's why you ignore rarity in the game. I'm sure everyone knows how to use Ramona, but in case you don't, I'm going to go over it briefly. Let's switch to Chaos. Can't find it on that list. Let's see. You use her because of her Rouse and her Exalt letting you draw any card. You basically sell this card and sometimes this card. As this will lose power. It's temporary power. Temporary power cards are usually not that good. But you basically sell this card for 50 gold, and you use her to draw cards from your discard pile, and that's it. There's also Genesis Ramona, which is her other form for 60 pools. Do not get this as a new player. It's 60 standard pools you use somewhere else. It's not to say she's bad Genesis form. She's good Genesis form. She's B tier. She's just extremely niche compared to base Ramona. And the current design in D-Tide, you can only use one form. So you can't use both forms in D-Tide. So you're going to use the more general use one, which is base Ramona. So you want to use your standard pools of something else. Late game, once you feel like your team is set, sure, spend the 60 pools to get her other form for whatever reason. Next is Murphy. Murphy is very good, even though I don't like using her. But her cards are very good. I use her as to wheel. I steal her cards as to wheel and use her cards. She's extremely good unit because of this card and this card. So this card is an AoE that afflicts weakness and bone. It's an easy weakness and bone AoE card. Tentacles. Very good. And her Exalt. All enemies deal 50% damage. She's a better Clem. So Murphy is a very good unit all around. I have nothing bad to say about her, and she's very basic. I already went for her entire mechanic in what, a minute? And next up is Miriam. Miriam was one of the first or middle limited blues and the last limited blue release. We're getting a new limited blue by the time this video comes out. But she's extremely strong poison, and her mechanic is very useful. She generates a lot of... She's a very good support and sometimes damage character. She's A tier. She's basically Blue Realms Dies or G-Doll, but not as strong. She's very strong. Like, she has a lot of kits, but she's not game-breaking as S tier. So she increases temporary crit damage for this. Her mechanic is... She has Consecration cards. You get 1 Consecration when you play her Rouse or when you Exalt. What these cards are gold cards in your hand that buffs her other cards. You see the number right here, 13, 33, 65. That refers to how many Consecration cards you have in hand. When you play her cards, it consumes up to 3 for the max effect and gives that additional bonus. And that's basically it. But at the cost of transforming them into purple cards. Once the gold cards transform into purple cards, you draw one less card next turn for each purple card you have in hand. So she does reduce your card draw a bit. But her Exalt has 3 forms, like 24, depending on which tentacle stance you're on. Right here, and she has a poison trigger, which is nice. She's basically a staple in Aqua poison comps. And her cards are very good steal as to wheel. There's nothing else to say about her, but she's a more complex unit because you can use her rouse 3 times. You basically have to E3 her, in my opinion. Because E1, very good. E2, very good. You want E2 for sure. E3, supremely good. So she's also a very high dupe investment unit. So be wary if you're a new player for her. Because most of the units I went over, you can play Della at E3, at E0. She's not as good as she is at E3, depending on someone you ask, but she can clear Alert 3. You can play 24 at E1, Hamlin at E0. You can sort of play, but Miriam gets extreme power spikes, just like G-Doll. That's it for A tier. Let's go to B tier. Daffodil is B tier after the nerf. She was extremely strong on launch, but they nerfed her a few times and she's still in a nerf state. And Ultra right now is in a very, 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 very poor state. That's why it's called Ultrash. But she is one of the few decent units in Ultra still. But the reason why she's in B tier is because you're not going to get that many dupes of her because she's a limited standard, which means her pull rate is going to be lower, especially when Hora enters the pool. And you're not going to, I don't recommend pulling Ultra to anyone. But she does tons of damage. She scales infinitely. On stage with a lot of enemies. She's usable in Arc 1. In Arc 2, she's usable in some parts, but Jenkins is going to do whatever she does, but better. And Jenkins is a standard unit. And you can get copies of Jenkins through selectors. So you just use Jenkins. You would never use Daffodil unless you have her built up. And if you have her built up, then it's just a waste of money. Next up is Karen. Karen is B or A, depending on who you ask. I want to mention this. She's not good because you play her cards. She's good because you don't play her cards. She, as weird as it sounds, she's good because you don't play her cards. So what most players do is they grab Karen. She gives you Arithmetica every now and then for her ult, like meaning mana. She's a free mana gain. And you keep these 2 cards in your hand forever. Because they're retained, which makes your deck thinner, which makes you redraw your entire deck faster. So that's why she's used. You hold these 2 cards in your hand forever, and you never play them unless you have to. You need a weakness, sure, play it. But that's why she's good. You keep the cards in your hand. You don't actually use it to heal. Like, why don't you use it to heal, you might ask? It heals for 20 points, my dude. It heals for 20 life. Is that worth using it? This doubles every turn. It heals for 8 life. You don't use these cards. Caulus heals more every turn than Karen. Caulus heals tons of health every turn. He heals 7.5% of your constitution every turn. That's 50 to 60 health late game. That's more than 3 Karen cards. And it's free. You don't use her heal. She's not a healer. She's just there for your hand. Okay? But that's why she's good and A or B tier. I put her B tier because I want to reduce the room and I don't really use her too much. But I do admit there is argument to put her in an A tier, depending on how much you value that. But she's also a very boring character because that's how she is played. I admit some of you listening to this right now, hearing me say you don't play her cards, are going like, why would I not want to play her card in the card game? I agree with you. That's why I placed her in B tier. She's very boring. I don't want to play her. Sangha. Sangha is B or A tier. Eventually, she's A+ tier once you have her overexalt. So this is Sangha. Sangha is very heavy unit. Very high cost unit, but she can dispel fragile. Gives you a shield. She's in B tier on my list because she is very good. She's very usable. But players are not going to access her full power until very late game. Her full power is overexalt, which means you need 8 copies of her. You're not getting 8 copies of Sangha early on. Because her overexalt is extremely strong, 200%, and her damage scales with shield, blah blah. Her damage is insane at +8 dupes. She is A+, maybe some would say she's S tier at 8 copies or 15 copies. She's extremely good at 8+ copies. However, as a new player, are you going to get 8 copies of Sangha? No, you are not. You have to go out there, sacrifice 10 dudes to whatever god you worship, castrate yourself, perform blood rituals, and maybe you will get +8 Sangha early on. So, unless you're extremely lucky, she's B tier. She won't become strong late game. But that's like months and months into the game, depending on your luck. Next up is Lotan. Lotan, I place it as B tier because she's at a weird point where she is D tier or S tier, depending on how many copies you have her. And she's an SR unit, which means she's a free unit you get at a game, and you get her dupes at the store. You get 2 dupes of her every month. So she's one of the 4 starter units, like Ramona, but at overexalt, which means after 8 copies of Lotan, she hits A to S tier. Before you have 8 copies of Lotan, she is D tier to F tier. The reason why she's so strong at 8 copies is because her exalt becomes an overexalt, which deals 15% fixed damage, which means it deals 15% of the target's max HP, which means you just exalt on her and you do a flat 15% damage. And endgame, the Chinese SR comp has cleared every content in the game with a full SR lineup, which means she's better than most standards and limiteds, cause she deals 15% of the target's max HP. If the target has 5 billion HP, it does 15%. The target has 5 HP, it does 15%. Later on, as the boss gets more and more HP, this gets extremely valuable. It means that after 10 turns, the boss is dead if you charge her exalt fast enough. The boss will always die after X amount of turns when playing Lotan endgame. So that's the reason why she's very good. You ignore all of her other cards. Oh, what this? Blah, 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 blah. You gain power, yeah, ignore all that. Her over exalt, use her to exalt. Basically, all these are useless. Hit count. You don't care about that. The 15% boss HP. That's why she's good. But if you don't have her +4, don't bother. Next up, the Lily. Lily is honestly A tier, but I place her B tier because she's a limited standard right now, which means she's in the standard pool, but you can't use standard selectors on her. And there's a 1 in 12 chance of getting dupes for her. And she needs dupes to really shine, get tons of shields. She is one of the best shielders in the game. She's even better than not, but you need a lot of copies for her. She is A tier if you can get a lot of copies of her, and if you're very lucky as a new player. If you do get a lot of copies of her, replace not with her. But that's all there is to say of her. She's just a shielder unit with death res. Salvador. Salvador is truly the B unit of all time. He is the most B unit in the entire game. Everyone would agree. Let's grow up. He's like B tier. Everyone would agree. He is good. He's good. He's a jack of all trades. He doesn't excel at anything. He's not bad at anything. You can put him in your comp. He survives. And to turn him into a DPS, you need E2. Makes him you can DPS with him at a E2, but you can use him at E1 just fine. He's a pretty decent unit, but he's B tier. He's good. I have nothing to say against him. I have nothing to say for him. I just think his gameplay is very boring. There are some people who swear by him. People who think he's hot. He's a very basic priest unit. He's not. I'm gonna go into a small rant here because I like to do that. He is the most basic bitch priest design in the game. He's not even crazy. Look at him. He's not crazy. He's just devoutful. He has no sins. He's just a nice guy. He's not even fanatically crazy. He doesn't sacrifice random people to his god. He just prays. He's basically your average Catholic priest. He doesn't even touch kids. He's just a good guy. That's boring design. He's a boring character. I'm sorry. Next up, Tulu. Tulu has fallen a couple of tiers as he's been power crept with new units. He's one of the earliest limiteds ever released. He was A tier or S tier on launch, but now he's lackluster. But he's very good combined with Murphy. He's a very good unit. He's better than most standards. Use him, but he's fallen to B tier. But he's still pretty decent. Be warned, if you look at any Chinese tier list, or if you talk to Manchi on Discord, they will put him at D or F tier. I'm being fair and placing him at B tier. Some people swear he's still A tier, but I have to agree he's kind of lackluster in the current meta. So he's B tier for now. But the Chinese absolutely hate Tulu for some reason. They spam wheelchair emoji whenever he comes across, because the reasoning Tulu haters have is he doesn't really do anything on his own. He's a supportive character, but he's not as supportive, but he's also built as a damage character. He gives temporary technical damage, and Goliath gives more power than he is. So people don't like him. People hate him. But maybe G-Tool will change that. But he is getting a buff in the future, though. Light has said that in his last Q&A. So hopefully he gets a buff. He jumps right back to A tier again. Now let's go to the C tier. C tier, as I said, is average. They're nothing to write home about, generally. You can use them. They're usable. No one will flame you for using them. People say, okay, you have that in your comp. That's why. You have that in comp to fill out a niche. You use C tier average units when you have a good team comp. I'll have a good team comp, but I need X. Let's play someone from average tier, because they're good at what they do, but they're average. They don't excel at it, but they do the like thing. Let's go to Arita. Arita is one of the welfare units. You get a dupe every month. Eventually, she'll hit plus 12. Once she's plus 12, after a year plus of playing the game, she will be A tier or S tier. That's after a year of playing the game. Your first months of playing the game, she is C or D tier. Her mechanic is discard, and she can cheese some bosses. Some bosses, Chapter 9, you slot in an Narita for discard. And she's one of the few sources of piercing damage. Again, after over a year of playing the game, this will be S tier. After 15 months of playing the game and getting enough dupes, she will wreck face with this. This can pierce through barriers, it can pierce through immunity. You can one-turn bosses with this. But until then, the only reason you would use her is this and this. So, Pharaohs. Pharaohs is average. She's usable. Some people place her at D or F. I disagree with them because she can let you draw any 3 cards from your deck. That's control draw. This is very good. She's also one of the few units with this effect, like I showed with Caulus earlier. You deal damage, and you get poison based on how much damage. So she doubles up on G-Dot buffs. She doubles up on buffs with this. That's good. She's average. There are better units you can replace with her, but she can use her as a temporary unit before you get better units. Nothing wrong with that. But she is replaceable. She's good because of this. You will use her endgame for D-tie because you need 5 teams. She's going to be one of the units you just place in one of your 5 teams. Next up, Uvash. Uvash is one of the gay favorites. Everyone loves him. He is very abusive in lore. His lore is very violent, but he's one of the few champions, lore-wise, that asks for consent. He's very respectful of your boundaries compared to other Awakers. Other Awakers, breeding frenzy, and romances, they're less consensual in their advances. He's actually pretty cute in the way he asks you for your consent. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is because in one of the text messages you get, he leaves like bloody packages and bloody hearts as a romantic gift for you. So, he's a bit of a weird person and very violent, but he's a nice dude. But he is C tier, he's average, you can use him, he generates a good amount of power, you can use him in any stage, he's usable. Nothing else to say about it. Besides, he's a very nice character in lore. Okay? Sorrel. Sorrel was one of the first, I think she was actually the first limited Caro units. On release, she was good. She's been power crept. Some people will even place her in D tier. She's a very bad limited. Before Clem was released, she was known as the worst limited unit in the game. But now she's not the worst limited unit anymore. Thanks, Clem. She is now the second worst limited unit, but usable. But she has some use with Clem Wheel. She uses Clem Wheel better than Clem. I can't stress how dog shit Clem is. But yeah, she is usable. Average. Do not waste money on her. Next up, Aegis. Aegis is, let's see. Aegis is good. Aegis would be A or B tier, but early on she's going to be pretty weak because she's a welfare unit just like Arita. You get 1 copy every month, so after 15 months, she'll be very good. Now, she's used in a lot of comps endgame because of her special mechanic that only she has, Petrification. This ability is extremely strong. Aurora uses her in his Gillette comp. What it does is it's the only unit in the game that can stun bosses for 1 turn. That's this ability. No other unit can stun a boss. Aegis is the only one who can stun a boss once in a fight. And I cannot stress how good that is. And these cards are very good. She's a very good bone bot. You basically put her in most Caro comps. So she is the slaughter, but she doesn't do anything on her own. She's a support character. But after you get Overexalt, she's used in every Caro comp basically. Because her Overexalt provides a damage buff. Now Celise. Celise is very average. She's very good early on D-Tide. Early game, I will put her as A tier, but this tier list is throughout the entire game. Reason why is because you're going to die a lot early game as you're learning the game. Her Exalt lets you die once and be fine and heal up. But the reason why she's C tier, eventually as you get better and better in the game, you get better comps, is going to be useless. you're not going to die unless you have a dog shit comp. And if you have a dog shit comp endgame, that is your fault. If you need to use Solis endgame because you are dying, you have a dog shit team comp. You have no reason to use Solis endgame because you'll hopefully have a good team that won't need it. You only need her when you're gonna die. If you're gonna die, your team is shit. So that's why she's average. She's very good because she can revive you. But if you're good at the game, you have a good team endgame, you're not gonna die. So that's why she's C tier for now. But early game, go ahead, use her. But late game, I want to see her gone from your team. Next up, Faint. Faint is the exact same situation as Solis. She lets you revive and generates a lot of resist. But endgame, if you have a good team, she's useless. Because endgame, hopefully your team, you're not going to die. Wanda. Wanda was Ultra. Pre-Arc 2, she was the Ultra unit. She was the best unit in Ultra. She was used in every Ultra team. She stalls forever. But with Arc 2 rules, she's F tier or D tier. The reason I'm putting her in C tier, average, is that you can use her in Arc 1. She's great in Arc 1. She's fine in Arc 1. I have nothing against using her in Arc 1. But she's dead for half the game. For half of the game, half of the rule sets, for events, for D-Tide, for endgame, you can't use her. You absolutely can't use her. You can spend $5,000 pulling for max copy of her wheel, max copy of her, and you'll struggle. How do I know this? Hop up to the Chinese Discord right above English Discord. Ask the one Wanda whale, the Wanda fanatic, how it was to do hard mode with Wanda. He spent over $15,000 on his Wanda team. I'm not even making this up right now. He's asked me on Discord to give you a screenshot of his Wanda comp and how it struggles at endgame right now. He spent $15,000 on his Wanda comp. It does worse than free-to-play comps. It does worse than a comp that you, as a new player, can build after 2 weeks of playing. After 2 weeks of playing the game, you have a better comp than spending $15,000 on a Wanda comp. That's right, for a cheap cost of $0, you can build a team stronger than Wanda. Why? In Arc 2, she generates virtually 0 counter. Why is this? She's a counter unit. She cannot generate counter. Why? This generates 44 counter. It doesn't scale off the damage you do. It's just flat counter based on her attack. What is this? This has a counter damage bonus. It got nerfed in Arc 2. This does no damage now. What could this cost? It's a 4 cost. I guess I'm not going to play any other cards this turn. I'm just going to play this card and pray. Oh, what's this? It reduces the enemy's power by 40? Huh? If the enemy does 100 damage, it's going to do 60 damage. That's great. Oh, but endgame. Oh, the enemy's doing 2,000 damage? I'm reducing it by 40? I'm reducing 2,000 damage by 40? What the fuck? Why the fuck am I reducing 2,000 damage by 40? Why? You're gonna die. You are gonna die. You are going to bend over and die if you play Wanda endgame. You are going to shit bricks. You are going to struggle. You don't know struggle until you play Wanda endgame. It's not even struggle. You hate yourself. You want to die tomorrow. You are playing the game as your last hope for any sort of joy in your life. Your wife has left you. You dropped out of college. Your job fired you. This is your last hope in this cruel, cruel world. You hate yourself. You hate yourself and you want to suffer. That is why you play Wanda late game. You spend $15,000. You spend $15,000 and take 15 turns to kill a boss after praying. After praying for sweet Jesus, please Lord, just don't let me die. 5,000 damage! Don't let me die! Get the fuck away from me! That is how bad she is right now. That saying, she'll probably get buffed because she is one of the worst units in the game right now. Rant over. Next, let's drop to D tier units. Okay? Nymph. Nymph is pretty awful. Everyone would agree she's awful. But we have some fans of her, as her character design is very good. People like her because she's cute and her lore is pretty sad and good. Her lore basically is, I'm just going to skim over it because I like talking about lore every now and then, is she was sick in real life. Her parents tried to get a cure and they got shipwrecked just like Elsa's parents in the original Frozen. It's basically the Frozen storylines sped up. And then she walked into the water and killed herself. That's her story. She just has severe depression. So if you're a millennial or an older Gen Z, this character speaks to you. So, the reason why she's bad is because her cars are too expensive and they don't do much. She would be stronger if she wasn't Symptom Camp, because she has a unique mechanic which I like that I think they should revisit and buff. Is every time you play a Symptom card, this card gets permanently buffed. But the increase is too low, 11 damage as you can see, and it's limited to 3 symptom cards a turn. If there was no limit and it was higher, she'd be a good unit. But she's somewhat usable as you can proc trigger poison before the turn ends with her Exalt. But in most situations, you can replace her with anyone else and do better. That's why she's bad. Hopefully she gets buffed, but she's a standard unit. Standard units rarely get buffed. So Pandia nerfs are a meme. If you're an old League of Legends player, it's a meme on Discord. Better nerf Aurelia, if you remember that. That's basically Pandia. Pandia is bad because she generates temporary counter. She doesn't generate a lot of counter like Caulus. And the counter she does generate based on damage is temporary. And as we all know, people hate temporary shit, and it's not high enough. Her values are way too low. There's nothing wrong with her mechanically. Mechanically, she has a lot of gimmicks. She serves the wide gauntlet, but the problem is her numbers are way too low. Way too low. Her numbers across the board are dog shit. So that's why she's in D tier. The reason why she's not in F tier on my tier list, even though in every other tier list she's basically F tier, is because of this card. She's the only unit that can do this bottom text right here. Remove all enemies counter state. So, in rare blue moon occasions, when you fight a boss that has counter and you hate that boss, you slot a Pandia, you use this one card, and you don't touch her again. So that's her one use in the game. But her values and her numbers are way too low. Look at this. Gain 5 power, 26 counter. Remember, this is a level 660 Pandia right now. I love her level 60. Her numbers are way too low. They need to buff her numbers. Next up is Hellet. Hellet, unlike her Genesis form, is pretty weak right now. However, some Hellet fanatics have found success with her in our 2 rules. Very niche, specifically built comps for her. So in very niche comps, she has use, but she's bad because her cards don't deal much compared to other units. Her cards are very low number-wise, and strike is not a thing right at the moment. In the future, if they release better strike wheels, I can see her being very strong, as that's her niche, being a strike unit. But that's all she does right now, is strike. And hardly anyone uses strike that much anymore. Because she does not generate a lot of bleeding. She doesn't generate any power. She has no scaling. Really. That's why she's bad right now. Hopefully she gets buffed in the future, but right now any other unit can does what she does but better. But I think this is a very easy buff scenario. In R2, once a good strike wheel comes out, I think she'll be extremely strong once a broken strike wheel comes out. Cassia is D tier as Ultra is in a very bad spot right now. If Ultra was in a better spot and their units got buffed, and if Wanda wasn't shit, I would consider placing her in like B or A tier because she's a very fun unit to play. Cassia has a very unique, she has symptom state or command card effect. She gets rid of them in your hand, but the problem with is in Arc 2 you don't get that many symptoms like in Arc 1. So this is hardly useful. You pull one card out of Ultra, it's hardly useful, and she gives temporary power, which is shit. Temporary power is extremely bad. Complete dog shit, because it's not permanent. And it's too low. If it is temporary, make it higher. Goliath's Overexalt in Arc 2 gives 200 plus temporary power to 500. So what's 500 compared to 9? So that's why. If this was permanent, I would consider placing her in C tier, maybe C plus tier. But right now, with Ultra in a completely garbage state, not good. Next up is Erica, the last welfare unit. So Erica is, frankly, bad early game. However, after 15 months of playing the game, and you get her plus 12, she jumps up to A tier. However, you only get one copy of her per month. So for the first couple of months, you're not going to use her. So that's her situation. Ogier. Ogier is very strong, but I place him in A tier. I mean D tier, because you can only get his dupes from the store. So you are time gated with his power. After 3 or 4 months of playing the game, he's a B or A tier unit. After 15 or after 6 months or 7 months of playing the game, when you get him maxed out, he's A minus to B plus tier. I would consider. He's good, but you're not gonna have a good Ogier until later on in the game as an early player. Now Clem. Clem. Clem is the worst limited unit ever released in the game's history on launch, even after buffs. She is one of the worst units in the game. She's, some would say, complete garbage. The only benefit she has is her wheel is S tier. The character itself is garbage. She tries to do everything, but excels at nothing. There's a jack of all trades. She's like the Bob of all trades. She can do everything you want. She can give you power. She can give you shield. She can give you damage. She can recharge S key. She can heal. Not in any amount that matters. Her numbers are extremely low in general. Her Exalt, it sounds good. Mental and Fierce Edition. Increased damage dealt. Increased damage, whatever, taken by 45%, whatever. Murphy does Fear Fixation better. Aegis does damage boost better. Why? Because this is put in additively with other multipliers. It's not a multiplicative effect like what we thought. Clem was potentially A tier or high B tier on everyone's tier list before she released, based on her kit alone. Her kit, extremely good. As I said, she can do everything, but her numbers, extremely low. So, she's very bad state right now. The worst limited to ever release. But as some would say, she's cute. If you like cute girls, pull for her. But you're not gonna use her. Now, the F tiers, the trash units. Alva. So, corollary. She's a potential Alert 5 A+ tier champion at plus 12. If you get enough copies of her and you're playing extremely late game with high levels and high shield caps, she can Alert 5. She will become extremely strong at plus 12. However, for the first year of playing the game, she's going to be F tier. Why? Your max HP is capped by your account level and the level of the units in your team combined together. So, at level 60, you're going to be shield capped. She scales off of shield damage. Later, long time down the line, when you have Nautilus, have everything you need, she becomes good. Because your shield caps are going to be extremely high, and she's going to do a lot more damage, and she can Alert 5 wave 1. Until then, don't use her. Because I'm sure most of you watching the video, somehow this extremely long video with me rambling, you're going to have 400 HP. You're going to have 400 shields. And you might think that's a lot. A lot of shields, a lot of health, where you're at. But it's not a lot of damage. So that's why she's F tier. She's going to be trash most of your time playing the game. Now, Lei. Lei is just bad because of numbers all across the board and temp power. That's why she's bad. Her effects are bad, everything about her is bad. The only good part is she can dispel vulnerable, which is one of the few units that can do that. But her numbers are way too low. Restore lost life. And this is garbage. You lose life, you gain temp power. If this was permanent power, she would be better. But temp effects in the game are worthless. This, really bad. Dies, power creeps her. This, worthless. Doesn't scale that well. She doesn't build any power. She's basically a brick in your team. So, if you change this to permanent power, you buff this up, you add a strike or defense effect, you increase number here, she'll be good. But her numbers are way too low at this point. She has to be reworked completely. Agrippa. Okay, Agrippa is currently F tier. However, she has one of the most unique kits and effects in the game because she can build Alert. She's one of the few, probably the only champion besides Alba, that gives permanent Alert, which buffs the shield you generate, but not in high enough value. If in the future a unit or a wheel, for example, takes advantage of this unique mechanic, which is Alert, because she's the only Awaker that gives permanent Alert, she might be good. But right now, she's very bad. But I can see potential for her. Whereas for Lei, they have to completely rework her character. For Agrippa, she only needs one good Poison Caro unit. Currently, she's the only Poison Caro unit. So, she doesn't work with anyone in Caro. Eventually, if there's another unit that synergizes very well with her, she's going to be bumped up several tiers. But right now, she's a unit in the game with no teammates. She's all alone, dying. She is about as alone as Wanda players. You know the Wanda players who drop out, wife left them? That's basically Agrippa right now. She's lonely. She has no one to help her, no one to support her. She has no unit to work with. One day Agrippa will climb out of hell and work with a great Poison Caro unit once they release one. Next up is Tinkt. Tinkt it has always been garbage, even for alternatives. Tanked is just flat out garbage. So, let's see. I skipped over Liz. She's also garbage, but I'll go back to her later. Tanked is garbage because temp crit, 8 points of power, very low. Everything super low numbers. However, I have to give Tink this. She gives a lot of crit rate, which might be useful later. However, you're not gonna play her cards. She's basically a brick on your team. All she's good for is crit rate. And other Awakers can do that, but better. They have more useful cards. And this is a prep crit rate too, and it's too expensive. Way too expensive. But this card is unique. This is probably the only card in the game that can do all three, but you just grab Tawil and just copy that. But how many times are you gonna have this be useful, for example? So right now, she's a brick. I don't think you can really change her in a way that makes her usable endgame, because she's way too niche, and every unit can do what she does, but better, basically. Like, this card is random effect, you don't want too much RNG, and she's not good RNG like Riker. This strike, again, endgame, you're not going to use strike, you're going to use other cards and other effects. So, worthless. So yeah, she's just a bad unit all around. With some uses, because of this, if you're really desperate. Liz. Liz is the worst unit in the game. There's been a couple of people who have quit the game because they leveled up Liz. Because she is playable early game. I bet new players using Liz right now are thinking, Liz is great, Liz is OP. You're going to quit the game at Chapter 7. And you're not going to be the first person that quit the game in Chapter 7. Ask me on Discord, I can link you. In this month alone, 3 players quit because they reached Chapter 7 and they realized that they bricked their account by going for Liz. There's a guy that pulled for 10 Liz copies. He already quit the game. You cannot play past Chapter 6 with Liz. She is that bad. Her numbers are extremely low, and mechanically she's pretty bad because of how her cards work. How her cards work: temporary power, discard effect, and you want to keep her cards in your hand. She will eventually fill your cards with green flame. That is her mechanic. Your hands will be filled with green flames. Unlike Karen, that's bad. She fills your hand too much. You're gonna have 10 green flames in your hand that you have to play. Your hand will be filled with useless cards that doesn't do much. So yeah, she is pretty bad. They need to completely rework her, make this permanent power, change the green flame into another mechanic, or maybe make her ramp up faster, because you have to wait every turn for the green flame to evolve. Yeah, you're gonna die. Same with Ramona. Every turn while you're waiting for a card to scale up, you could have been playing cards with other Awakers. Instead, you're just watching your hand. Okay, in 2 turns, I'm gonna do what other Awakers do in 1 turn. Just you wait. Oh, just you wait! In 2 turns, I'm gonna do enough damage that other Awakers do in half a turn. Yeah. But in 2 turns endgame, you are gonna die. You are gonna die in 2 turns endgame. Yeah, she's just an awful unit currently. Now, the very last unit on this tier list is Gall. She is just bad. I have nothing else to say over her. She's better than Liz. But she is an SSR. You're going to get her plus 12. But she's going to still be bad. The reason is she's a support healer character. She doesn't heal enough. But her cards are actually really good. Very beginning of the video, I'm talking about Tawil scaling cards. Tawil Pure Chaos can use this card. Tawil using this card. This will be a 300 plus heal to a 600 plus heal with Tawil. Her is not going to heal at all. Why? her base stat is too low. See? Her base stat since she's a support, super low. So she can't take advantage of her cards. That's why she's bad. Like 18 points of shield. Even as a new player, you know that that's low. You know that these are low. And these are gonna remain low until her base stats are buffed. Because if they buff the scaling on this, it makes Tawil stronger. Other units are gonna use her cards instead of her. Now I've been talking about endgame a lot. I've cleared all of endgame. But just to show how useless some ultra comps are, they have no survivability. I'm gonna load in first turn. Real quick. I'm gonna show you a real quick example. Okay? I'm gonna show you a real quick example. Let's see. This is a very quick example. Very quick example. Okay. What do I do? I'm playing Wanda. What do I do? Tell me, chat. What do I do? What do I do here? I'm playing Wanda. I'm playing a Wanda counter cop. Pretend this is Wanda. Oh. What do I do? Oh, 1500 damage. I tell you what you do. You die. That is what you do. Whereas in this comp, playing cards, scaling. I have the shield. Oh, I have more cards. Doing damage. Oh, if I hit that, I crit that guy. He's not going to attack anymore. 780 damage. Wow, I'm going to debuff them. Oh, wow, 450 damage. Guess what? I live this turn. I reduced 1500 damage to 450. What's that? I only took 2000 damage because I'm playing blue? Huh? I only took that much damage? Oh, and now a red turn? Now I'll play this. Just use this. I'm gonna do this real quick to make my point. Play this and this is what S tier good comps are like that are not ultra and endgame. So I grab this, grab this, and I could have done this before. I should have done this before, but I didn't realize that was no. So I could have killed him all this round, but I might still kill him this round. I'm gonna throw off too. Let's see. Play. Yeah. So wave almost cleared. I could have cleared it if I play my cards right. That's just an example. Now, what do I do playing an ultra Wanda comp? Tell me, what do I do? Let's see, Winkle or Hora. This is the original ultra Wanda comp. I'm just using the example. I know these are not the best wheels, but I'm getting that point across here. And even then, you don't use not most of the time, but whatever. Just ignore the no covenant. Okay. Now let's load in level 60 ultra Wanda comp. Let me show you why ultra is trash. I had 2,000 health there. What's this? 1,400 HP? I have less health. Why is that? Because Caulus has more constitution than Wanda. Wanda has no constitution. Yeah, she has no health. Okay, let's see. Oh, I can only play this card. 41 shield. Discard all cards. Let's see how much shield I get. 82. I switched to blue 10 to go. I get 200 shield. Oh, I'm gonna play this. Reduce power by 18. Wow. They're only gonna do 1400 to me this turn. I'm gonna play this. Oh my gosh, I'm getting so much shoot. Look at that, boys. 34 counter. 34 counter. Let's see. How much health do they have? Huh? I'll go kill them. I'll kill them. Don't worry. Don't worry. I got this. I got this. I got this. I got this, dude. Got this. This is Ultra. This is Ultra. Oh, Ultra's viable endgame, dude. This is viable. And it feels so viable right now, dude. Let me just play these cards. Oh yeah. Oh, that 300 counter turn 2. Oh, what's this? I guess. So that's why you don't listen to people who play Ultra and Endgame. That's what's gonna happen to you. So yeah, that's the end of this very long video. Hopefully I'll have time to timestamp.